Whoop, I was just moving one of the machines out of the way to make sure that we were going to be fine today. So, how's the time? Just on 11 o'clock. How was your week? How was your fortnight, as a matter of fact? Let me see. What's been happening here? We did the Canberra show, and that is one bit embarrassed. As I say, what I was doing, this is crazy. I was over here. I was spinning it around. I was moving those machines into position so that I can put that slab on the far side over there, that slab, through it, because it's very embarrassing if you start to do a demonstration and everything turns to rubbish. We can't have that, can we? All right, let me see. I gotta stop saying let me see as well. So I trust everyone is well. And how's the weather? The weather at my place, it is raining at the moment, which is great because we've just done a fair bit of topsoil. You know, this fountain project, which is a never-ending story, which is looking fantastic, by the way. We have put some turf down and we put topsoil down because we knew the rain was coming. And then my mother-in-law decided to get some really nice grass seeds so we could throw it in amongst the turf, because the turf is really good during summer, I should say, but not so good during winter. And there are some winter grasses up here that keep the place green. Anyway, it appears that that new seed was the most expensive duck feed that I've ever got a hold of. The ducks were just following me around. And then I said to Vicky, you know what? I thought I was doing the smart thing and I put the sprinkler on. She said, no, David, you remember they are ducks. Yes. And so they went fast. They thought that was great. It was extra as far as they were concerned. All right, let me hook into it. We've got a big show today. And first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you know next week. I'm going to give you some indications of what I'm going to do. I've got a whole heap of chisels that are blunt, so I need to sharpen up again. I thought I'd save that for a show. And I've also got an interesting thing I've done with the scroll saw. I saw someone do it at the show, and I thought I'd like to show you guys as well. So I'm not big on scroll saws, but it started to whet my appetite for it. All right, here we go. So that'll be next week. This week, we're doing the slab. I bought a big slab of Camphor Laurel. Let me see, where is it? And I've got some Purple Heart, which is one of my favorite timbers. Some African Padauk. Some red cedar, not Western red cedar, this is red cedar from Australia, and another one down there, Brazilian bloodwood, I think it's called. So very nice. And people say, why do you get the wood? Well, it's the only opportunity really that I get to grab some timber at a reasonable price. So I walk around, I look at it, I go, yeah, take it home. What am I going to do with it? I've got no idea. I like to clean it up. The slabs I've got are Camphor Laurel, and I'm reckoning they're going to smell absolutely fantastic when I machine them. Here we go. Okay, so I've got a bit of a postcard from the show. Graham almost started down the slippery slope of Festool, and he's bought himself a Domino 500, and I'm sure he's going to love using that. So I've got some pictures here as well of different things that I did with the Domino 500. So let me see if I can grab that one. Here you go. I did this with the Domino 500. This is a handrail that I built. And all of those spindles on the left-hand side, the balusters for the handrail, were, let me say, that took me an hour to do all of the mortise and tenon joints in that whole handrail section, which is fantastic. It's one of the reasons I love the machine. All right, back here. Now you'll see that I'm not doing too much talk on the chat at the moment, guys. I see it starting to run all through there and a whole heap of people. And I'll say a quick g'day. Mark Bongers, John Lafferty, Angler 1262, John DeBess, John S, Steve Wallbank, Callum Simpson, Andy, 12 UK. So, okay, so in the UK, we've actually come forward 2 hours now as far as the show is concerned, because during the middle of summer when we were on daylight, when you guys were on daylight savings and we weren't, it was 2 o'clock in the morning, I think, for you guys. So now we're on daylight savings, which pushed us an hour forward, and you guys have come off, so you've come back an hour, so, 12 o'clock. That's not too bad. Greg, Big Genny, morning everyone. John, raining there too. Lost Wits, morning, nice. Earthing video, I was surprised the bare cable wasn't available here in Australia. I was really surprised as well. I couldn't believe it. I thought, you know, we're talking about this stuff here. These, when I put these lightning rods on my PVC system, and you can see inside, they just penetrate. Watch the video. It was good fun to make, and it was a bit of an important thing. It's one of those subjects that a lot of people, because they haven't had a fire created by static electricity in their dust extraction system, they might turn around and say, well, you know, it's not, no one really ever talks about it for a home workshop, but I hear that it does happen big time in industrial situations because the velocity of the air traveling down their pipes is a lot faster. But I doubt that they'd have actually PVC. Anyway, I was speaking to a fireman about it yesterday, and he said, Dave, you'll be surprised how many fires there are in dust extraction systems. So my thought then was, possibly it's, I'm just reading a quick message from Carl down there. He's going to be the moderator today, which is great. So Carl's going to answer questions for you and let me get on with the show. Thanks again for that, Carl. John's at markets today, so he can't help out. And Steve's got himself a new Conchuro from Festool. So he's going to be sitting in the corner with his toys, having an absolute ball like a kid at Christmas time. Yeah, so fires, a lot of the time, are caused by, and the fire that I had in this particular workshop was using a router cutter that was blunt. It was burning, and there was an ember got into the airstream, and it blew the thing up, so it got really red and started an ember burning in my collection bin and also in one of the lines. So now I'm extremely conscious of all that kind of stuff. I may have gone over the top with the dust extraction system here with grounding it, but one big plus is when I walk past the hoses now, coming down from that line, I do not get any static on my arm. My hair on my arm used to just stand up big time. Anytime I walk, you know, that far away from it. It was huge. So, you know, I don't know. All right, next thing. Yes, the Festool, the Domino. Okay, Steve, we were just talking about Steve and his Conchuro. So I have not put my picture back up there, not to worry. So this is Steve's Conchuro. This is for edge banding. And it's just an amazing machine. It'll do 65 millimeters, I think, thick, maybe 60 or 65 wide, an edge strip. And it'll do timber, I think probably up to a few millimeters thick, maybe even a quarter of an inch thick. It'll put solid veneers on. It does insanely tight internals, so I'm just going to flick it backwards and forwards. I think it's a 2-inch radius, internal radius that it'll do, put an edge strip on. Unbelievable. Beautiful bit of kit, but I'm going to have to come over here and read a question that has been asked. Philippe Borland, anybody know how to identify wood? Look, there's books on how to identify it. I'll flick back over to this picture here so I'm actually talking to you guys. There are books on how to identify it. There's different grain structures, different color, and you know that the difference between hardwoods and softwoods. It's the different way that it gets the water and all the nutrients through the tree. Hardwoods flower, softwoods do not flower. So if you've got a tree that's got flowers on it, it's a hardwood. If you've got a tree like a pine tree that's got pine cones that aren't flowers, that's a softwood. There was another rule of thumb. There's a couple of rules of thumb. If it's a softwood, if it's a conifer, it's a softwood. All the rest are hardwoods. If it loses its leaves, it's a hardwood. You know, it pertains to the areas that you live in. But the main one is if it flowers, it's definitely a hardwood. If it doesn't flower, it's a softwood. Right, next thing. So Steve, I'm hoping you have a great time with that Conchuro. Okay, someone asked me during the week about my saw stop blade guard and how and why I retrofitted it to my saw. So I'll grab that. We'll do this straight off at the beginning, keep everyone happy as we're moving on. All right, moving down through here. Right, Dave Wheeler, we were looking at the Conchuro from Festool, which is an edge banding unit. Now, this is the saw stop blade guard and dust extraction port here for over the top of the blade guard. Now when you lift this up, it closes the dust port off and bring it down, opens it up again. The dust port is right at, the collection point is right at the front here. Right here. You'll notice that when I put my finger in there, it's not going to the top. There's the top of the guard here. It stays down here. Now, that's because this has become basically a crevice tool right at the front. So it's collecting the dust from right at the front. Now, this is the splitter, or the blade guard's support, off my own table saw. This is the one that was on it. This was the one from SawStop. Now, all I did was took this off the SawStop one, took the unit, that my old blade guard that was on top of this splitter, and I made sure that the arc here and the arc here lined up with each other, because you'll see down the bottom here, the supports are just totally different. Here and here are totally different. So I needed to transfer the holes that were up the top here. These 3 holes I needed to transfer, and I also needed to create that shape there on the top of my splitter, because that was the area up here that it all bolted onto. So you can see the holes were for that bolt, and there's a pin there as well somewhere. Here it is. It's a little pin that stops these little guys pushing back. These are the anti-kickback pulls. It's got 2 sets of anti-kickback. It's got the big ones up here that you can lock up out of the way, and the other ones down the bottom. So I hope that helps get that sorted as to how I did it for my saw. Now, you know that I don't have a SawStop saw. I would love one, but I don't have one. And I'll show you why. That's my saw and the table that I've built for it. That whole setup there cost me many, 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 many dollars. And the SawStop cabinet, the industrial SawStop, the cabinet opens on the right-hand side underneath, not on the left-hand side. See mine? That blue box down here, that's the cabinet opening. On the other side, there's no space for a cabinet opening. Now, if someone would like to sponsor me to pull all of that apart and put a SawStop in, I would do it in a heartbeat. But I'm not pulling it apart for that. All right, next thing. Photos from where you're watching, or your project that you're doing, if you can send those things in to me. And let's see who we've got here. We've got Govinda Singh in his workshop watching the show, and that's his smile, believe it or not. He's a very happy chappy. Okay, sorry about that, Govinda. You are a really happy person. And also Govinda has he's a fellow photographer. Govinda and I both have a passion for photography. Okay, sliding through, all I see Barry and handrails. I'm sure you can see more. Let me slide down through all of this. My first reaction to the Festool track saw because of your channel. Did you, John? Go back to sweeping up. I've got no idea what's going on here. I'll move this up. I'm going to try and move that up out of the way. If you're just starting in woodwork, any tips? Yes, there you go. Use a push block. All right, what are we doing now? Next thing. John Lafferty has printed some he's got his 3D printer, and he's made these things. Have a look at this. These are 20mm and 3/4 inch dogs that he's made. Now, you can see also there's a spacer that he's made for them. So he can now use that spacer and put a 3/4 inch dog inside that spacer, and it converts it to a 20mm, which will fit into an MFT3 or the Stanton bench. How cool is that? That is such a great idea. John, you've done it again. Pretty amazing. John used to be a professional photographer. You guess you found the right channel. Steve Parsons, g'day Dave from Gympie, Queensland. Love show. Keep up the good work. Thank you. Now, as I say, I'm trying to keep the format, so I'm not doing too much chat. We're actually doing stuff, and we will be hooking in. Nearly finished. Keep the channel afloat. Use the affiliate links in the description box below, And yes, I do get a kickback from it, and I put it into running this show for you guys. So if you can use those, that's great. Germany, Spain, and France. I need a few items purchased there. Once I've got 3 items purchased, it could be anything. It could be dog food, it could be a tape measure, it could be a crate clamp, it could be anything. As soon as I've got 3 items purchased in each of those stores, then it just locks me in and I don't have to worry about it anymore. Here's something else that John made. Look at this. This is a ratchet 3/8 drive spanner for a socket set. And it was 3D printed in one hit. Watch this. Can you hear it? Let me turn it around this way. That's just amazing. That blew me away. Oh, one person's also asked me the size of the of these guys. Now these are, I'm going to drop them if I'm not careful. I'll put my hand there. These are the screws that I used in the dust system. He wanted to know what size they were, so I shall do that right away when I get all this worked out. Is it the right way up, David? I'm hoping. No, got the battery on the wrong side. There we go. I take the battery out of my calipers. The reason being, it goes flat after a while. Okay, so I'm going to put it in that way to start with. That's the length in metric. Okay, and then we've got the thread, the base of the thread. And then up into the outer side of the thread will be there. Okay, that's the size of the Euro screws. And just pull the battery back again, which disconnects it, and put it away. Right, so I've done the blade guard. We're moving on well. We're getting a lot of stuff done. Next thing we're going to do is spin it around here and start working on this Camphor Laurel slab. I've been wanting to do this so much, but I thought I'd hold off until I got the show happening. Quick drink. And we'll take this over here. I think that will get me. Right. Now what I'm going to do, because I'm ripping, I'm going to use the track saw, I'm going to use the 2.7mm rail. I'm going to use the Panther blade. The blade in there at the moment it's basically a fine cut blade. So it's good for cross-cutting. It's not good for ripping. I have done a lot of ripping with this kind of blade, and it just ends up being a pain. It's slow. So how we do that, you pull that forwards, you push this down, and it locks in position. In the side here is an Allen key. I'm hoping it's going to come out without me breaking the finger. Yep, there it is. The saw sits up on its edge. Undo it. Now this is part I have actually prepared. I wanted you guys to be able to see how I switch the blades over. The blade guard, the riving knife here is retractable. I can slide this back in. Done. And put this back on. Like so, and lock it, and put this back into the handle, like so. I always push down on this a little bit before I let that go, otherwise it's going to just flick back. Move that guy out of the way over there. Now that I've got the blade in, I can put the power on. I've got it on 6 for the speed setting. Now you might find, the other weeks what I've been saying is, when I turn the machines on, turn your sound down a little bit. The microphone on this camera will adjust, but it takes a second for it to do it. So when you see me about to start, you might want to just turn your sound down, or just pull back from the thing a little bit. I'm going to get my earmuffs. Okay, I see that Carl's in the background saying thumbs up. That's always nice, if you can. I've got this hooked up to the small dust extractor, the small CTL sys. And as I said, I'll throw the rail on. I've selected a section on the slab here so that I can get 15 inches wide. Now why I've done that is that this little corner here isn't really great. I'll use a little bit of those, you know, for small stuff. I'm going to trim the back off, and then I'll be trimming off this side, probably on the table saw, before I run it through the thicknesser, or the thickness planer. Now this slab is around, it's thicker than 50 millimeters. This saw's maximum depth when it's on the track is 50. So I'm going to cut it with the track, then I'll take the track off, and then I'll run the saw on the timber itself using the previous cut as a guide. I could turn the track around backwards and clamp it and act as a straight edge that way, but I don't think I'll really need to. First thing to do is put the track on, right where it's going to cut. Put the specs on for this. The good thing about using a track saw as well with a slab is that whilst all the best practices were done with cutting this, and it's looks like it's been done with the chainsaws. You know, I love this, the slab exposing itself to me, and the grain and everything, and the smell and everything of Camphor Laurel is just amazing. So we'll do the cut, and hopefully everything's connected there. All right. I'll bring that dust extractor just a little bit closer to me. Come around the other side for it. That's a bit better. There we go. Alrighty, I've got it set to full depth. Here we go. Oh, it smells beautiful. If only you could smell what I'm smelling at the moment. Absolutely beautiful. So, love it, love it, love it. All right, now I'm going to take the saw off the track. And do it without the track this time. The baseboard that I've got under the slab at the moment is a good 12 millimeters thick, so there's no way that I'm going to be able to cut through this and my baseboard and into the top underneath. It's always a good idea just to check the thicknesses all the way through, because once it's cut, and if I go into this laminate, I'd be a little bit ticked. It's one of those things, you know, the good thing about the laminate surface is that it's it never accepts any glue. That, you know, if I'm gluing up on here, it's always a nice flat surface. And one of the downsides is that I have to be very careful. But, you know, that's in my nature anyway, I'm hoping. So have a quick look at the chat. Yep. Okay, all good. Just doing a quick check on the stream there. Chat, and I can check the cut here. I'm dropping the blade into the previous cut, and also on the track saws, which a lot of people aren't aware of, there is a guide at the front here that tells me 45 degrees or 0. So I'm going to follow that. First of all, I'm going to put my muffs on. There we go. Making sure I don't catch anything. Everything out of the way. So that was the thicker part. Up. It's beautiful. Absolutely love it. That was the thicker part at the beginning. And I think I'm going to be right for the rest of it. I don't need to run the saw along the rest there. Now that I've said that, I will. There's a couple of spots there that I'll just tidy up. Here. Done. Beautiful. All right. What I'm going to do now is put it over the table saw. So this is going to be a little bit of mucking around. If you need to grab a coffee, now's going to be a great time. I'll pop this out of the way. A quick read. Thanks, Graham. Post them somewhere. I'll look into the typical sites. Low battery, got a jump. All right. Excellent. Don't you love this guy? I keep on saying to people, when I walk into this building, I just get a smile on my face and I can't get rid of it. No. I don't want it. All right, switching things around a little. Screws down there. Earmuffs. I'll spin this over here so you can see what's happening. Move this guy out of there. The room smells fantastic at the moment. It's Camphor Laurel, Camphor Laurel, Camphor Laurel. I love it. Do any of you guys like Camphor Laurel, or am I the only weirdo around? Oh, absolutely love it. So down at the Canberra show, what I might do also is while I'm waiting, while I'm doing this part, is I'll flick something on from the Canberra show. I did a quick video, it's not very long, and hopefully I'll get everything finished before we come back to it. Where are we? Canberra show. This was just a postcard I built. There's a few things in here. There's me having a bit of a drive on the 8-tonner on the way down, because that's what I do. Also, there was one of the guys from Trend doing a bit of a bandsaw box, so if you want to see that. Also, me doing a bit of a saw stop demonstration. It's only a short section, don't panic. There was also a video on a guy making a chair by hand, you know, using spoke shaves and scrapers. Unbelievable stuff, you know, in a clamp that he'd built from stuff he found on the side of the road. And also, there's some pictures of Mr. Hosey with the Gifkin jig. There's pictures there of HNT Gordon planes and stuff. There's also look, there's pictures there. Watch it. I'll get this other stuff sorted while it's running. You probably hear me in the background at the same time. Hello. Camera, here we come. Yep.
This green symbol.
And what was your name?
Young.
Right. And how long have you been doing this for?
New video. 20 years.
Yep. And what are you making there?
A lung.
A run for a chair.
The horizontal bit.
Wow, these are fantastic. How long does it take you to make a full chair?
It's a bit hard to say because it's not a continuous process. But 5-6 hours or something.
They're beautiful. You've been having a good time at the show?
Yeah, talk to the local people. So that's fine.
Thank you very much.
No worries.
Wow, you did that so quick. Oh my goodness.
That please. And then just out of the way. Now I'm not going to go slow, I'm just going to go at normal speed. You ready? Camera's ready? Okay, impressive enough. Notice, no blade here anymore, but as I said, the riving knife is still there. I'm going to turn the unit off. It's got a solid red down there saying there was an activation.
So that wasn't too bad, was it? A little bit of a postcard from what I've been doing down in Canberra. Now I've got it almost set up here. I'll open up this blast cage as well and put the small hose across the top. But that was from, just a short run around this show and see what I could see. Because remember, I was still working. At the same time, I grabbed a bit of lunch and duck out and have a quick look. Now, 15 inches is 12 inches is 300 mils. 15 is another 3 inches on top of that, which is 75. So let's go 375, which is there. And I need to adjust this quietly. This part is going to be the slowest of the whole thing, but I thought you may want to see it. With the show, I'm trying to get you guys experiencing the different machines that I use here and why I use different things, and maybe pick up a couple of ideas while I'm using them so that, it might make it a bit safer for you if you decide to go down this track. Shift that there. Bring the slab back through here. You notice that all my tops are the same height, or very close to it. With slabs, I have to be careful because sometimes they have a bit of a bow from when they've been milled. I'll open up the table saw's dust extraction port. Close this one because I'm pulling from both lines. And make sure this port here is shut, which it is now. Start that one up. And here's the arm on this. Can you hear it sucking there? So with my table saw, you probably can't hear me, so I'll just do it. That's what I've just ripped off the side. Now, I spent a fair bit of time before I did this, when I was setting up, to make sure that this slab was pretty straight. If it had a twist in it, there is no way that I would have put this over the table saw in that manner. What I would have done is I would have, again, used the track saw. Both sides. It's safer that way. But this was a nice straight section. Alright, down to the other end. You can see now that I have a nice big 15-inch wide piece of timber. Yum, yum, yum. I can bring this back up onto here now. Spin it around there. Now I'm going to take it over to the thickness planer and start to expose this beautiful surface into a lovely, lovely board. Bring the gear back here. I'll read a couple of questions here. Underrated tree. Camphor Laurel, Carl, yes. Steve Parsons, what were you planning on buying at the Canberra show? Wood show, taking the truck must give them a fit. No. Whoop. There we go, that's lovely, isn't it? The joys of life. No, Steve, I wasn't buying anything down there, taking the truck down. I work part-time for Carbotech and I do their demonstrations for the saw stop and also work in their store, you know, as I say, part-time, and I do the shows for them. So I've got a full truck license, so I drove all of the machines down there for them and brought them back. Also a forklift license, so I unload the whole lot for them as well. So I'm a handy person to have around. Now, thicknesser, let's do this part. Alright, closing that one off and making sure that only the top line is running. There. Yes, yes, yes. All good. Now you'll notice there was a bit of dust came out then. And one of the reasons being, because, I'll come back around here, I'm carrying the slab. Yeah, so there was a bit of dust. This is no light animal I'm carrying here. This is 2.1 meters long. Over 2 inches thick. And this is the part that I was getting ready. This is the part that I was making sure everything would fit, because it's very embarrassing if you start something, it's not going to fit. Now the reason the dust collection wasn't working too good is I'd forgotten to open one of the gates back at the cyclone. So the overhead gate was working perfect. The gate in the table saw underneath was not running well at all. It wasn't working at all. All right, let me see what we've got here. Open that one up, and I've set it to be a 65, or sorry, I've set it to be 55 millimeters, or just a little bit more. When you're putting timber through a thicknessing machine, it's actually 55. When you're putting timber through a thicknesser, main thing is to make sure that it's only going to top, it's only going to get the absolute highest point. You find timber up and down a little bit, you've got valleys and mountains. I try and take the tops off the mountains. So I look for the thickest part first. I make sure that I can quickly raise the bed or lower the bed to make it a little bit better for the machine, for the timber to go through. Earmuffs again. I'll turn this on. Same thing, I'm going to make some noise. You may or may not need to change your volume. reason I've stopped the machine there is I know that the machine is now taking a fair chunk off the top. I've nearly got full cut. So I'm now, instead of going one full rotation, I'm only going to take a half a rotation. Again, the main thing is do not stress machines. That you want them to last as long as possible. So on a full width, which is at the moment 15 inches, the maximum for this machine, I will only do with softwoods, I'll do half a turn. If it was a hardwood, I'd do a quarter turn. That's all there is to it with this machine. Let me have a look here. What do we got there? Okay. McFadden, Ian McFadden. Hi Dave. Snowing here today, first time for the year. For my street, it was a little late for your show today. Try not to let it happen again. Okay. Michael, do riving knives on table saws need to be made out of steel? Can I use Jerry instead for cutting thicker boards on my saw in one cut? I would use steel, even the ones that MagSwitch make. Plastic coated steel so that you can make your own ones. Look, you can use a very small riving knife if you wish, but with a blade guard and the splitter, which is what I've got there, I would go steel. That's very, very hard steel. It took me ages to drill a hole through it. I think it might even be spring steel. I don't know what it is, but it's extremely hard. Dave, here's the question. Dave, lost it? I'm sure I'll be able to. Do your planer and jointer use spiral head cutters? Sitters or cutters? They are spiral head. Yeah, I'll show you straight away. I'll bring this over here so you can see. I'm about to keep going with this, but I'll show you quickly. That's the cutting head on my jointer, and it's exactly the same in my thicknesser there as well. So the reason I got the pair of those is that they fit each other. So I don't have to muck around too much. What am I going to do? I was waiting for you to dial it down so the slab would feed through on its own. Yeah, it is feeding through on its own. From my research, spiral head cutter much better and lasts longer. Yes, it does. All right, I'm going to keep on moving through. So this is really, really nice. I love this stuff. I'll bring it down a little closer. Is that any better for you guys? It should be. Again, I'm going to turn the machines on again, so you're not going to hear. I love it. Am I the only person that enjoys this kind of stuff? I absolutely love it. When I'm planing timber and the grain just starts to reveal itself, I'm in another world. Here we go. How are we going for time? What do we got there? 1:45. Got 15 minutes left. We should be fine for the show. Turn this one on first. It's the dusty. Turn it off. One of the other things I love doing is I love watching the dust go up the dust line. And you'll see as it starts to feed in, a little bit comes, and then a whole lot round the corner. Up it goes down through this PVC line with all the lightning rods I put in it. And there's the video. Don't forget to watch the video. It's great. Even though I do say so myself. Here we go. Turn it back on. All right, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to turn the slab over now. I've got one side that's running really, really nicely, but when you get it to, I'm very fortunate that it is parallel. It's been cut quite well. So I'll flip her over. The reason being, a dressed finish always slides much better on the beds than a rough sawn finish. So I'm going to flip her over now and do the other side. But before I do that, you can have a look at the comparison. I'll bring it over here and I'll flip it one side to the other. And you go, how the hell? I saw slabs down there that had already been dressed. They wanted a whole lot more money for them. And I thought, I've got the machines. Why would I buy their slabs that have already got beautiful finishes on? That's half the joy for me. All right, I'm going to have a quick read. Late again, thanks for talking Yoda talk there, Peter. Let's up the like count, folks. Yes, give me some thumbs. If you're enjoying it, by all means, throw the thumbs up. Hi, Dave. Hope you and family have been well. Videos, great. Thanks. That's not a problem, Cram. Luke, Ian McFadden of the company. I don't know. Sorry, Luke, that's not me. I've got to close this other one off because I can't see what's going on there. Give me a second, guys. Okay. Stephen Warbank, can you demo the drum sander sometime in the future? Yes, I can. Luke, I will just show you in Canada. It is a famous name in Australia, so I'll bring this over. You can have a look. So, what have we got here? This is the side that I saw down at the show. And I thought, it's got a bit of potential there. And so this is what I've just been doing now, and the other end is the part that I really like. Look at the figure in it. How nice is that? There's a bit of figure down here, a little bit here, and the colours are changing right away around. A bit of figure around here as well. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, going in again. We'll go from the other end this time. I know, we'll go this way. So, why not? Okay. Beautiful. Get my earmuffs. Now, I'll drop it down a full turn. The reason being that this time as I'm putting it through, I've got all the chainsaw cuts in it, so it's not going to be cutting all of that off in one pass. It'll be taking the tops off the chainsaw cuts, and so I'm only really going to be cutting half of it. That's why I've gone one full turn, one I've turned it over. Here we go. Turn this on. I'll take the camera off the stick and you can have a look. I don't know if it's overexposing, but possibly is. If I turn it up on its edge, it might show it better. How's that? That's not chainsaw marks, that's figure. Chainsaw marks down the bottom. But that's figure in the timber. And the other side. Look at it down there. Turn this around. Back to there. Now you may not be seeing the colours that I'm seeing. I haven't got this camera synced or set up to be exact colour match. It is what it is. I've spoken about this before. But that is absolutely beautiful. Did I tell you I've got two of them? The other one's out the shed. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Push that back there. And I'm going to open a door. Let a bit of air through. So I've got that one open. One down the other end. Give me a second, guys. Done. Bit of air through the room. And my keyboard and my list. And it's 12 o'clock. We're nearly done. So, have you been enjoying the show today? It's been a little bit different. I spent a bit more time on the chat at the beginning than I would have liked to, but that's okay. Do I check for moisture content when I brought it home? No. It's been extremely dry in Australia, and that slab is just dry as. Dry. It's Stephen, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think spalting is from fungus eating the cellulose, and I don't think Camphor Laurel is that susceptible. No, it's not spalting, it's figure. It's figure in the tree. So that may have been a branch that was bent out and a lot of buckling up, compression of the fibres as the tree was growing out, taking up the weight of the branch as it got longer. So that's where you can get some figure. Some people try and get spalting on purpose. They put timber in a plastic bag, throw a bit of water in there and just let it do a little bit of that kind of stuff and throw it up, put it in a cupboard. I'm not 100% sure of that, but I think that's what happens. Luke, is the grain from age or grain colour? It's, I don't know, it's a piece of wood. Join the pair of them into a dining table. Maybe. Zane, thanks for the vid today, Dave. We'll send a pic when I get the blade guard set up. Need to unearth the saw from the garage clutter. Terry, thanks for the show, Dave. Jake, nice board. How are you from Texas? I'm well, Jake. Thompson, thank you. Graying is from water in oxidization. Thanks for the videos. Okay, now I haven't quite finished, so if you want to hang around for a minute, don't forget, thumbs up. Let me see if I've got anything else up here that I was going to show you guys. I think I've shown you all the stuff that was there. We've got Govinda, who's sent a photo in. Send a photo of where you're watching the show from. I've shown you what I did with the domino for myself. Steve's Conchiro, John Lafferty's dogs, and his unbelievable little ratchet drive. I couldn't believe that. Me on the highway in the 8-tonner having some fun. What else we got? What else? Oh, John made a battery pack. Now, you may know, I'll just, give me a sec. This is still charging. Now, John made for my air shield. This is my dustwood that I normally wear when I'm being a good boy. And he made a battery pack for it with using lithium-ion batteries. And I've got the one that came with it, which has got nickel metal hydride batteries in it. I did a quick comparison yesterday. I just turned the helmet on and let it run. I'm going to tell you the hours. I got 3.5 hours out of the standard nickel metal hydride battery. The lithium's 15 hours. John, it's fantastic. I'm going to read you how the hits that I did with it. Okay, so 11:50 on Thursday to 4:20 p.m., 4.5 hours. On Friday, I turned it on at 20 past 8 in the morning and turned it off at 4:30 in the afternoon, 8.2 hours straight. And then on Saturday, I turned it on at 10:15 a.m. and it's at 12:30 it started doing its beep, 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 meaning the battery needs recharging. Now, he's also put it, gave it to me with a charger that you can just plug it in and forget. It takes it to full charge and turns itself off. Now, I don't know if the one that came with mine did that. I think it just stayed on constantly with the nickel metal hydride battery. Now, I'm going to see how long it takes to recharge the lithiums, but if you've been using it for 2 days straight, why would you? But if you've been using it for 15 hours in a day, that's amazing. You could plug it in, charge it overnight, and it's ready to go for another 15-hour shift if you needed to. So brilliant. I'll show you what it looks like. He's done such a good job. John is a talent. Now, it is in here. That's it. He printed that with his 3D printer. And look, I'll give you a wrap, John. On the back, yellow box shed. There you go. That's where you can find him. So thank you very much for that, John. And it just, it slides in perfectly. Look at this. Shut the lid. Turn her on. Works like a treat. I love it. Love it, love it. I love that helmet. All right. Don't forget, next week, I'm going to do a little bit of mucking around with a scroll saw. And with these guys, I'll bring it all over for you. So this is what we've got to look forward next week. I've got a heap of chisels that need sharpening, so I'll do a few of those. I'll do them by freehand, and I'll also use the Veritas Mark II honing guide with its registration jig. Okay, and also show you through this guy, which measures the angles of your chisel, so you can set it all up. There you go, John. 3 times 18, 650, 3400 milliamp hours. No, the batteries are exactly the same weight. It's brilliant. Exactly the same weight. I checked them. I couldn't believe it. Terence, good evening, Dave. Thank you for your videos. They're awesome. As an artist using coloured pencils, I really like the boxes that you made for your mum. They've had a resurge in popularity ever since I did the video the other week. I'm saying, you know, have a look back through the library. If you want to jump back through the library of what I've done. I haven't really put any kind of way of finding out what's there. Just click and watch, have some fun. People have been jumping onto the Etsy site and buying those pencil box plans again, which is great. Thank you so much. It all goes towards supporting this show. Keeps me keen, keeps me coming down to the shed on my Sunday. Don't forget it's Sunday for me, and I'm going, do I do this? Yes, of course I do. I love it. And add, yes, okay, so lab work, VAPs. Yep, all good. So that's right, that, and that. And I'm going to show you how to do that with a scroll saw. There's no glue there. Come back next week. I'll try and get a video out next week as well, like my normal weekly video, but I'll have the show on as well. Thank you, Stephen. Only other thing that needs changing in Australia, or air shield, is the filters. No fume control. Yeah, it's a different situation. It's not the 3M, which is a full situation. This is for woodworking only. Okay, guys. Thank you very much. I shall see everyone. Move this over here. Another great show. Okay, support the show by Omi Support Show. Down the bottom in the description box, there's a PayPal me link there as well. If you want to use that, that's great. And as I say, oh, Movember. Yes, Movember. Greg Wyatt is doing the Movember thing, but he's got a mow. He doesn't want to shave his mow off. He's already got a mow. He's not going to grow another one, but he's walking extra paces. So he's getting out there and being fit with exercise. Support him if you can. I started the ball rolling and I thought people would jump at it, but I was very, very surprised and a bit disappointed, I've got to be honest, that other people aren't jumping in and supporting him. So this is a noteworthy thing to do. Like, it's for guys' health, for men's health. The men are the silent die. You know, they die quietly. You know, no, they're not going off to see doctors and things. Greg is a GP. Get involved with Movember with Greg. Jump onto his thing through the Facebook page, on my Facebook page, and the live stream Facebook page, the Dave Stanton live stream page. Jump in there, support him in what he's doing. He's got a target of around $1,100. He's only had the one donation. Help him out. Please, please, for your own help. This is not just for him, it's for all of us guys. All right, and the other thing, room air filter. I was going to talk about the room air filter position today. I'm going to be reinstalling my room air filter up in the ceiling. I haven't had time to get it done today. I'll jump on it next week. Let me have a look up here. And, okay. Thank you very much. That worked, perhaps. Ian, loved it. Dave, great. Everyone, thanks again. I'm going to have to say goodbye, and how do I do it? Up here. See you next time.